The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
To On Trial, where we debate the merits of your favorite movies. Hope you're ready, Hollywood, because you're on trial.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Ghost of Christmas Future is presiding. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Oh, shit.
This is a gaggle of roaming cats. This is On Trial. A Radulich podcast where we debate the merits of your favorite movies. Tonight on the docket is Scrooged. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, Mr. Mark Radulich. And down there is, she's gone now, and she's back.
Hi.
Joining us once again is that bitch hit me with a toaster. What do you say, Miss Toaster?
It's literally the only line I could come up with on the fly.
Wonderful. And of course, joining us again, as he is for most on trials over the course of this podcast, he's Sean Urnod. How do you do, Mr. N7?
Like my life depends on it. I was gonna say, damnedest thing. I was looking at the title card when we were spawning in, which is funny because I'm so used to us having a quick little backstage before you press the button. And 1 second I'm sitting there texting, and then all of a sudden I hear the disclaimer, and like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the title card, and I realized neither of those figures really represents you, Mark. The one on the right looks more like me on the rare occasions when I'm clean shaven. In fact, it's damn near a spitting image. My compliments. And the one on the left just kind of looks like me with my hair about how it's normally styled and with the beard.
So that's the first time you're seeing the title card? That it's been that long since you've done it on trial?
I've not done it on trial in a minute.
Yeah, you did. You did one with me with the Running Man.
Then I just must not have noticed, because I think during that one, during the credit sequence, I might have been futzing with something in my immediate area, probably like my mic or something. What was that?
All right.
I said, "Ding! Marijuana affects the memory."
So let me go back. She says you fucked up on marijuana on the Happy Grass. Listen to me. I will tell you the origins of that title card. So we about a year or so ago got dinged for copyright for using the Night Court theme. We were in. This was.
I remember that.
Yeah, this was the early stages of Jesse and I doing the Sessions podcast. So we were already like redoing a lot of themes. And I think this was like the third episode of Sessions. I told Jesse, I'm like, hey, we have to bump some of the other ideas we had. I have to redo the on trial theme. So we did, which is why you have that new sex as Dorian Price put it, the theme that tries to have sex with you at every show. Because you're on trial.
Hey, you try that hard.
You're on trial. That very sexy theme.
I would think the three of us could go sharesies with that theme.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
I'm all up for group sex all the time. Listen to me. The point that I'm trying to make is I asked ChatGPT to make me a title card, and I said, and it's like, well, what do you need? I'm like, well, On Trial is the podcast where we debate the merits of your favorite movies, Lincoln Douglas style. And it glommed onto Abraham Lincoln versus Douglas hard.
Okay.
So that's what that is. That is it. That is Abraham Lincoln and Douglas at a debate reviewing movies.
Well, there it is.
All right, so like I said, it's the Christmas season. We're kicking off the Christmas season here on the Rattleton Broadcasting Network with a review of Scrooged, which I have a condensed intro here. This isn't going to be a very long one. Scrooged from 1988 is an American Christmas fantasy black comedy directed by Richard Donner of Superman fame and written by Mitch Glazer and Michael O'Donoghue. Inspired by Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, it offers a metafictional modern retelling starring Bill Murray as Frank Cross, a cynical TV executive preparing a live broadcast of A Christmas Carol, who is visited by ghosts on Christmas Eve. The supporting cast includes Karen Allen, John Forsythe, Bobcat Goldthwait, Carol Kane, Robert Mitchum, Michael J. Pollard, and Alfre Woodard. Produced on a $32 million budget and filmed in New York City and Hollywood from December of 87 to March of 88, the film marked Murray's return after a 4-year hiatus following Ghostbusters. Production was turbulent due to creative clashes between Murray and Donner, though the film featured numerous celebrity cameos, including Murray's brother. Marketed heavily around Murray's ghost-themed persona, Scrooged was released November 23rd, 1988, grossed over $100 million worldwide, and earned an Oscar for Best Nomination. And earned an Oscar nomination for Best Makeup. Yeah. Best nomination ever. Though critics were mixed, it has since become a Christmastime staple and is often cited as an unconventional or ahead of its time holiday classic. Kat, I'll start with you, then Sean, and then I'll tell you my experience with this movie. You would actually ask to be on here tonight, so like we always do. When was the first time?
A little bit of a stretch, but
what were your in first impressions, etc.?
Well, okay, so oh gosh. I remember seeing this when I was little, like maybe 4 or 5, because it was on HBO all the time, right? Especially during Christmas time. So this has a special place in my heart, and it might just be like, my personal biases for maybe nostalgia. But I love this movie. Up until about, say, 2 minutes ago, I had no idea that it was written or it was co-written by Michael O'Donoghue. From SNL. He was in the very first skit in SNL.
Oh, okay. That's good trivia. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I love this movie. I make no apology for it. It is probably my top 5 Christmas movies. It's probably the most conventional Christmas movie it is in my top 5, to be honest with you. Because the other ones are like Less Than Zero and Die Hard. But
oh, you
can. I'm not like other girls.
Yeah, I'm so much nicer to you than I am Alexis, so I don't want to make fun of you. But man, I had to choke that back.
Sexy pick me, you.
Thanks, Sean. Always with the hot tag.
Okay, first of all, you know that I'm not above being made fun of. Okay.
Well, no, when you earn it, I will. But
Thank you. But no, I love this movie. The cast is stacked. The music is great in it. Like I can't think of a bad thing to say about it.
Cool. Sean?
Just making a note here. Cat's humiliation kink green light underline 3 times.
I'm
gonna say that one for later.
Checking it twice. He's gonna find out if you're naughty or nice. Kinky clauses. Never mind.
Wow. A praise kink, not a humiliation kink, although I am humiliation curious.
Wonderful. By the way, did I tell you? I think I may have mentioned to you offline, like through text, that Mick cornered me into doing a general kink discussion show.
Yeah, you tapped me for it on my birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday to you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Everybody.
Yes. By the way, Kat, I feel like such a genuine heel that I didn't pause to wish you happy birthday on Monday. So happy birthday. Genuinely love you. You're one of the best things to have happened in my social life this past year. I really mean that.
Oh, I love both of you. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to my cold little black heart. But
yes, just please take no offense that it had to be belated, because if there are 3 things I am absolutely abjectly naturally horrible at remembering, it's names, faces, and remembering to say happy birthday to people.
It is perfectly fine. I do the same thing, although I think I said happy birthday to you. Never mind. You know what? Unimportant.
Well, you got me a few days after. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
So Scrooged.
I'm also not great at
Yeah. I am back to talking about Bill Murray movies.
Yeah, and like I remember people's birthdays. Like it's one of my weird ticks, but like I'm also kind of lazy when it comes to texting people.
Mm-hmm.
But no, for everybody listening or out there or you too, or it does not matter. I turned 40 on Monday. I'm filing that club.
Yay.
My niece have been screaming at me since I was
It only goes downhill from here.
No, I'm aware.
All right. So is this the part where I'm supposed to say something about Scrooged?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
God, yes.
Sorry about that. My first thought after seeing this movie for the first time in several years, and by the way, anytime this comes on at the holidays or somebody puts it on, I am more than happy to sit down and give this a good watch. It kind of falls into that same sort of category as, oddly enough for me, The Frighteners. Ooh. In terms of having a few special effects and moments that they probably didn't mean to be quite as creepy as they did, but it really came off fucking well. Especially since I of course grew up with Mickey's Christmas Carol as being my definitive version of A Christmas Carol. And this was before I had ever seen the Muppet Christmas Carol. That came out a little bit later, so I hadn't glommed onto that quite yet. But, you know, this kind of became my really kind of easier to digest. Like I've said before, spoonful of sugar helps the heroin go down. Take on a classic story. But the thing about this is one of those movies where I could especially see Gen Z and Gen Alpha watching this and rolling their eyes and going, come here, you guys. The 80s weren't really like that, were they? Yes. They were.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. I love Bill Murray. Let's just get that straight off the jump. There is virtually nothing I will not watch him in. Having said that, though, with what we kind of know about Bill Murray, number one right now, the man doesn't have to act very much to really kind of portray some grade A prime USDA sleaze. And that just kind of fits perfectly because in this role, he has to play an 80s cable executive, which is not that much of a downgrade from the OCP board of directors in RoboCop. Which, you know, I think really if you're going to update A Christmas Carol, especially if you're going to do it in the 80s, I don't know if there's a much better parallel for Ebenezer Scrooge than Francis Cross, the perpetually up his own ass, unhinged cable exec. It's almost too. You don't even really need analogous names, I think, is why this works so well, is because you can carry this across with really absolute minimal allusions to the original. And some fucking how it still fucking works.
I had a cousin when I was growing up, my cousin Jen. She was infatuated with Bill Murray. She was about a year or two older than I was. And I remember...
Direct line to the funny bone.
I have a handful of distinctive memories about Jen. That's one of them, that she was just in love with Bill Murray. And this was like her... I think this was like her favorite Christmas movie because he's in it. What I remember of the time that I grew up in, 1988, puts me at about 12. I remember a lot of kids my age thought this was great because it was kind of the anti-Christmas movie. If the tendency to make Christmas movies is to make them a little too saccharine, family friendly because Christmas is a jolly family holiday after all. It's not Halloween with the rest of you pagans and Satan worshippers. This is a good old Christian holiday. There are not that many. In the vein of Tim Burton kind of Christmas movies, and this is before A Nightmare Before Christmas, so that hadn't happened
Can
yet.
I ask you something?
Hang on. So,
sorry, go ahead.
So, I of course saw it when it came out. I liked it just fine, but I did not really like that kind of thing. I don't think I ever really have. I've sort of dalliances with it here or there, but for the most part, especially when it comes to Christmas stuff, I like the wholesome. My three favorite Christmas things are, I'm not wearing one tonight, but I have like 2 or 3 different Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas shirts. That's my jam. The aforementioned Mickey's Christmas Carol, Yogi's First Christmas. I'm probably the only person on earth that doesn't like Elf. But there are plenty of other really wholesome Christmas movies that I absolutely adored. Sean and I talked about the Santa Claus a couple years back, that trilogy, which I enjoyed. So Scrooged was okay. I understood why people liked it. It was not my favorite thing, but it is something I've wanted to talk about on here for a while because I do think there's a good discussion to be had around it. What is your question, Sean?
Okay. So first of all, for those of you who are perhaps just now catching the show in recent years, early on, this is how sheltered my background was at one point when Mark and I first started doing this show. Mark would reference Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and every single time I would swear up and down on every holy and eldritch book I could get my grubby little gremlin mitts on that wasn't actually a thing. It just sounded like too ridiculous a title to be true. Lo and behold, eventually I would learn, yes, that is actually a thing. Anyway, my question for you is, and this actually kind of relates to Christmas movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about them being saccharine, seeming out of touch, very samey. Do you think that's a little bit of a problem with a lot of Christmas movies, that a lot of them are just kind of leaning into tradition and not really bothering to explore how modern day audiences who are going to be watching this very modern and current movie actually feel about Christmas and the holidays and celebrate them? Do you think maybe that's where the disconnect is?
I can only answer you, I think, if I'm understanding your question. We can open this up for general discussion, spend a few minutes on it. Did you happen to, this is rhetorical, did you happen to see Hot Frosty last year? Because no. I did. I reviewed it. Hot Frosty, it's a wonderful movie. It was legitimately in my top 10 last year, which, many people questioned my sanity, but I assure you, this took all of the joy and innocence of a Christmas movie and kind of gave it a kind of naughty wink and a nudge. I loved it. It was, one, I think it was well written. It's not the Shawshank Redemption, but it's not supposed to be. It's about a fucking snowman that turns into a real boy. It's Pinocchio. It's about a snowman who turns into a real boy, with hot abs. What was that? But yeah,
he's actually hot.
So and it's funny because he's walking around for most of the movie as basically a snowman that looks like a human, and then not spoilers. He turns, with Love's First Kiss, he turns into a real boy at the end. It's marvelous, simply wonderful. It's also a parable about dealing with cancer. So there's a lot, going on in this movie that I think people overlook because it was the most silliest premise ever. And so I guess that's my best way of answering you is, we now live in a world where Hot Frosty lives next to Violent Night. A story where Santa Claus is going into bars and beating the shit out of people, and is doing a Die Hard, if I remember correctly.
But here's the thing: is hear me out here though.
Yeah.
Think about A Christmas Story. Mm-hmm. I think about that, and I think about growing up with Colin Comer And Colin frequently remarking on every little nostalgic needle drop and reference and wink, and about how he remembered all that growing up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, say what you will about that rivals It's a Wonderful Life for most overplayed holiday classic.
Especially
But
in the last
you have,
years, yeah.
yeah, but you have to admit, it does capture the spirit of the season within a very specific nostalgic time, and not in that phony ass MAGA masturbates to it contrived Norman Rockwell experience. I look forward to ignoring your comments. That we've kind of been spoon-fed. I can't think of too many Christmas movies that I've seen in a good long while that really kind of feel authentic to especially a lot of people, again, in like Gen Z or Gen Alpha kind of tend to feel about Christmas around me and how they tend to kind of celebrate it. It's all kind of very much feels like we're trying to force the same Hallmark or Great American Family model into everything, despite the fact that you look at that kind of vision of the holidays now, and it can't help but feel kind of anachronistic.
I don't want to go off on a rant nor take us on too far of a tangent, so I'm going to say the following. And if Kat would like to respond to it, or Sean, if you want to quickly respond to it, you can, but then we got to move on.
Okay.
I think my issue with this entire conversation is, and I don't fault you for this, Sean. I think you raised an interesting topic, but it
I try sometimes.
Not you. The subject matter hits me in the wrong spot for the following reason.
Oh.
I have a real problem with the youth of today. And I find from my limited experience, granted, I'm one man, only experiencing life through a very narrow set of eyes. Their wholesale rejection of most of the things that keep this culture together, and a lack of a unified culture is doom. I think in general. I mean, I don't mind niches. God knows I've been a part of a few of them, and I accept the long tail. But when I'm coming across in social media so many positions that we need to throw out cultural unifiers, we need to reject the things that bonds culture together because they're bad or they're problematic or they're toxic or they're whatever the buzzword of Twitter today is. I find that to be reprehensible, quite frankly. I think it's really short-sighted. I'm not saying every Christmas movie, in no way am I saying every Christmas movie should be, they should all be wholesome. They should all be in the spirit of the season. I reviewed Violent Night. I liked Violent Night. I liked Hot Frosty. I reviewed Hot Frosty. If you want to make, a Christmas Terrifier movie, by all means, you're not gonna upset me. But I think if I'm understanding where you're coming from, and like where a movie like Scrooged appeals to them because they already don't want to deal with some of the really strong pillars keeping up this culture. I would say, gosh, I wish they weren't so goddamn cynical. That's coming from me. The guy who was told at 16 he was too cynical. If you're well past me at such a young age, I weep for you. Kat?
So, okay. There's a lot to unpack here. So,
I am the old man of the mountains, and I don't want them painted.
Old man yells at cloud. Okay. So, I guess I'm just going to begin with culture changes. It always does. It always has. It always will. Since time began, culture evolves. It changes.
Sure.
And considering that channels like Lifetime and Hallmark and whatever. I'm probably dating myself because I haven't had over-the-air television or cable in well over a decade. But I mean, considering, okay, let's take Hallmark as an example. So they have cornered and flooded the market with all of these Christmas movies. They're churning them out like one by one by one by one, and they all follow the same, or not the same basic formula. Like there are some variations on plot, but basically you watch a trailer, you watch the first 10 minutes of it, you've already figured out act 1, act 2, act 3, and then you can move on with your day. And the fact that at least, so I feel like younger millennials, Gen Z and Gen Alpha were spoon-fed this crap. I am almost shocked, and anybody in the comments, or if you guys want to like chime in here, is like I wouldn't be surprised if there was an Elf on the Shelf movie, right?
Right.
Like Christmas is a commodity in this country. It always has been. It always will be. It's the biggest shopping time of the year. It's when, it has its own genre. So being a jaded adult that turned into, being a jaded child that turned into a cynical adult, a misanthrope with hope, I really like.
I once saw Misanthrope with Hope open up for Metallica in 1989 at the Nassau Coliseum.
Sweet. I was the bass player. Now, seeing something like Scrooged or Violent Night or Less Than Zero or The Ref or Die Hard or Gremlins or whatever, like it, to me, those feel more true to life when it comes to the spirit of Christmas, rather than like the Christmas puppy, the Christmas hat, the Christmas miracle, blah, blah. Like, I really identify with, especially nowadays that I am now in my 40s, I really identify with the cynicism of Bill Murray. And I love how this is like one in a series of movies where he plays a slime ball that, like goes through a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Like, I dig that. But like I said, to begin with, I just got off on a tangent. I need to get back on it. Okay. So culture changes. I mean, like, it's the reason why, like, we're not watching Birth of a Nation anymore or Triumph of the Bill.
Yeah.
I
mean, those do have their places in art and in cinema. They're just, get them away from me.
I accept that. I think what you're picking up from me more than anything else is over the last little bit, when I talk to people, because I'm a professional therapist, so I talk to people every day, and I asked, and towards the end of the session, I'm trying to wrap things up and get to my 53 minutes, the mandated 53 minutes. Never worked for Medicare. Anyway, and so I'll ask them, like, what are your plans for Christmas? And it's just a deluge. It's just a tirade of negative comments about, oh, I got to get gifts for this one. Everything about Christmas is a giant pain in the ass to people. And I hate that because I really do love this holiday, but I don't look at it as a gift giving extravaganza. I know that's what it's turned into for a lot of people, and that's where a lot of the exhaustion's coming from. But also, this has been dealt with a million times. Family Guy did an entire episode about 2 or 3 different episodes of Family Guy dealt with the materialism of Christmas.
Who hasn't done an episode about the materialism?
Yeah, really.
Of Christmas at this point?
I don't buy into it anymore. Like, Christmas is what you make it. If you make it a gift, if you do like my ex-in-laws did and make it a celebration of extravagance and excess, that's on you. You decided to make that. That's not Christmas demanding it of you. Last year I told my kids I don't want to give gifts. I ended up getting them a little something because I have learned since people enjoy the tactile experience of opening things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that either, but I live in this world with people. So I said, I'm going to take you guys on a trip. They asked to go to Disney. I took them to Disney. We had a marvelous time. This year, don't tell anyone, I'm taking them to New Orleans for spring. So they're getting like boxes of like stuff.
Sweet.
That says New Orleans on it. Like I got my son a Saints jersey and my daughter a Pelicans shirt.
Right on.
So
I love that.
That's what I'm giving them for the Christmas present.
So cool.
Because I would rather do experiences than here's a bauble, here's an item, here's a piece of junk that you won't even open, or will be outgrown in a year or two. I'm kind of over that. But for me, Christmas has always been about the sort of cultural elements of it, the music, the music, the movies, the decorations, the whole spirit of the thing, and then spending time with your family. If that doesn't appeal to you, I think that was more of what I was trying to say. If Christmas doesn't appeal to you, and it's and so you reject any culture coming out of Christmas, I feel like you've lost the plot. But also, I don't want to minimize people's trauma,
Right.
that may have pushed them in that direction. So, I'm going to back off a little bit on that. But it is frustrating for me because I don't think a joyful holiday should be met with this much hostility. Sean, I'm going to give you the last 20 words or less, and then we're going to actually get into Scrooged.
Okay.
No, I think that puts it really well. And that is that I think we have a couple of younger generations that have not entirely accepted that, look, you guys don't have to just sit here and bitch about it. You have the best chance of any of us to actually reclaim this and make it into something positive that you want to. If you want to make it a holiday centered on charitable giving instead of one particular domination or faith system, please, by all means, do that. If you want to make it about a time of forgiveness, togetherness, kind of laying down arms and trying to come to peace with some people, I encourage that completely. I know coming from me of all people, that's got to be a mouthful. But I mean, I've had some things happen that have kind of shook my belief system a little bit. Frankly, my family for years, we have talked about just kind of doing small gifts if we want to. But for the most part, like do that on Christmas Eve. But then on Christmas Day, it's all about jammies, home-cooked food, books, movies, and gaming together. This year, I'm just happy with the fact that I have an incredible wife who has spent 10 years from me and never dreamed of leaving my side once. I've got an amazing kid that's starting college in the next month and has a wonderful partner of their own. I have in-laws that I have really gotten to know and understand well enough that that legitimately I would take a bullet for any of them, or I'd put a bullet through somebody else for any of them. Nobody needs to get me anything, but for those of you who are still holding on to that cynicism, and here I'm not going to do shtick, I'm not going to make jokes, I'm just going to say it very, very plainly. A lot of us live in a very uncertain world where we're going through every day feeling afraid, feeling isolated, feeling like we have to do certain things we don't want to just for the sake of not pissing off the wrong people. For all of this is also about the only 4 weeks of the year when it is pretty much societally accepted that not everyone is going to have their A game and that it's okay to gradually wind down, if only for at least a little bit. However you want to take advantage of that. All I ask of you, I'm not going to give you the peace on earth, goodwill to men. Some people genuinely do not deserve it. I'm going to flat out tell you that right now. But as far as those of us who do love each other and accept each other and just kind of want to live together, please, by all means, if you don't want to make it about gift giving, if you're up in arms about the religious tenets of it, just make it about that. Just make it about all of us coming together so we can be happy and safe for just a little bit. And just think about being thankful for that. It's not always about what you're against. Sometimes it's about what you are for. So please, by all means, whatever your weird tradition may be, if you want to if you want to have a fucking salvia-fueled orgy on your rooftop, please, by all means, go ahead, do it in the spirit of the season and have the coolest of Yules. But take the time and just find something to believe in instead of something to rail against and give the finger to, if only for a little while.
Well
Wow.
said. Scrooged largely follows A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. In this particular case, Scrooge is not named Scrooge. He goes by Bill Murray's character's name. As I mentioned in the intro, he's playing a television executive, and Christmas is about getting as many people to watch TV as possible. It was so funny. I was watching this with my kids, and I'm like, what a quaint story this is. It's very of its time, and it is aged like milk in the sense of that what he's after, his driving force, his motivation, no longer really. I mean, it's been redefined. I shouldn't say it doesn't exist. We're about to see Jake Paul fight, Anthony Joshua tomorrow because, Netflix wants people to watch its streaming service for 5 hours on end. So the ratings thing is still a thing. It just exists differently now. But I had to kind of explain to my kids like what he was after and why he was after it, so they understood. But yeah, he wants to do a live Christmas Carol on his network, so people will stay home and spend less time with their family and watch more television. That's what he's after. And he's doing all the Scrooge things. He fires Bobcat Goldthwait in the first scene. He tells Alfre Woodard, never mind your child and his medical appointments, you must stay and work. As Alfre Woodard is the Bob Cratchit of this movie, and she has a son who witnessed her father being killed, and he is now selectively mute. So he is Tiny Tim. Karen Allen plays the long lost girlfriend who is works with a charity, and throughout the movie she keeps trying to go back to Bill Murray, and Bill Murray keeps trying to go back to her, and then subsequently screwing it up until the very end. And like I said, beyond that, it more or less follows the structure of A Christmas Carol. He is visited by Jacob Marley, who is an old business partner who is stuck in limbo and is even in ghostly form is surrounded in chains, and these are to punish him for being a shithead in real life. And if Bill Murray doesn't change his ways, he will end up in chains or worse. He's visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. I just want to say about the future elements, seeing the kid in the rubber room still upsets me. Like, even talking about it now, like, I'm gonna fight back tears. That is a rough scene for me to watch. Bill Murray in the casket going into the fire and him screaming, like, that's
traumatic shit.
I was gonna say, anytime Scrooge goes to hell in any iteration of this, it's not pleasant to watch. It's not meant to be.
No.
But I'll tell you, one of the things that made Scrooge is the horror elements. I mean, this is kind of like a Christmas horror comedy amalgamation. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, it just stays in the comedy realm. But there are a couple of times, the Ghost of Christmas Past, who is like a deformed elf cab driver, that gets gross at times. And then, like I said, the stuff with the at the end with him going in the fire, legitimately horrifying. Let me give my thoughts on the movie, and then I can turn it over to you guys. It's still okay. Watching it with my kids, we all enjoyed it. It's a solidly made movie. I mean, it's hard to fuck up A Christmas Carol. I think I like the fact that what this movie does is plays with illusion a lot. Like, when he's on the set during the Ghost of Christmas Present bit, and like the set kind of changes, and he's going different places, and he doesn't know what's real anymore and what isn't. Like, there's kind of a subplot that he's losing his mind that is probably going to be replaced by, I can't remember the actor's name, but that's fun stuff. Yeah. John Forsythe, yeah. That's all fun stuff. Bill Murray, I didn't realize that there had been a 4-year hiatus between Ghostbusters and this, but I was telling my kids.
Neither Why?
My kids were asking me a lot of questions about Bill Murray, and I was like, what he's doing in this movie, this is kind of what he does for a while. He'll start to do different things when he starts doing Wes Anderson movies. But for
Lost in Translation, yeah.
But for the early,
My
the
favorite.
Life of Steve Wazoo, all of that. But for the most part, the early Bill Murray is, Ghostbusters, Stripes, this, it's kind of doing the same shtick. He's kind of a pervy asshole. That's kind of his character in every movie. And for some odd reason, that was really appealing to my family. I don't know why, but people seem to love it. So, is it my favorite Christmas movie? No, but I think it's well made. I think it's solid. I think the special effects and monster costume designs are pretty cool looking, and there are some legitimately heart-wrenching scenes. So, your thoughts, Kat?
So, I love how you brought up the horror elements, because there were a couple of scenes in this movie that genuinely scared and messed me up as a child. And right off the bat, it's his version of like the commercial that's going to be running throughout the season. Murder on the freeway. Overdoses. Like, it looks like a clip from Threads or something.
Yeah, nude nuns with big guns.
Yes.
It's such stereotypical 80s scare tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, like late 80s, early 90s, like really unique to that time when this was very much like the kind of big bad world they were trying to portray in Predator 2.
Right. Or RoboCop, or what, or what have you. So yeah, that part, the part with her son in the rubber room, like, broke my heart, especially great Alfre Woodard's character coming to see him, and she's like, "Goodbye, Calvin," and it's just like, the part where, oh god, I cannot think of his name or the actor's name, and it's gonna drive me nuts. Where he finds him frozen to death.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I lived in a time when this could go without saying, but I'm just going to throw it out there briefly and then throw it right back to Kat. Before anyone says a word, if you are not a parent, as cliche as this is going to sound, especially a parent who has been through a very specific set of circumstances, you don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't. What Mark said, what Kat just said, yeah, co-sign it with me all the way. I didn't expect that to be the part that unnerved me most.
Yeah, because you see Grace trying to leave the office to take her son to the doctor. You see her with Calvin, her son, onto the set, and Frank is just yelling at this, like, poor 7-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't even fight back or cry. His face doesn't even change. It's unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even though he never speaks, he's a fully developed, fleshed out character. And to see him to be, I'm guessing probably maybe late teenager, young adult, in the padded room, and his knees are at his chest, and he's just leaning against that wall, and he's not talking. It breaks my heart. And there are a couple of parts in this that didn't even touch me until I was a full-fledged adult, like the part where the Ghost of Christmas Past shows him his parents and him when he's little. And by the way, the father is Brian Doyle Murray, his older brother, I think.
Really?
I might have to, I may have to verify that using Google Foo or Alexa, but yeah.
I knew he looked familiar.
I didn't even realize this until probably a couple of years ago, because he's wearing a hat. You don't really see, like you see his face.
Mhm.
He's in his, I think it's Ushanka. He's wearing the bloody apron because he's a butcher. And Frank is sitting on the floor, and his mom is pregnant with Frank's younger brother, James. And by the way, Joel Murray, his younger brother. Family affair.
Hmm.
And she looks at him and she goes, Merry Christmas, Frankie Angel. And for some reason, like now, it is really Niagara Falls, Frankie Angel. I blubbered just like he does on screen. Which leads me to believe that what happened, like in the original Christmas Carol, that child, or his mother dies in childbirth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his, and that's his brother or sister or whatever. So it gets dark for me, especially having lost my mom right after Christmas, almost 12 years ago. But like there are parts of this movie that, like, now that I'm an adult and, I have, like I can read between the lines, whatever you want to call it, like it hits those emotional points for me that much harder.
I want to piggyback on something that you said, and then we can toss it over to Sean. I have been talking a lot, both in therapy and on my TikTok, about the generation that comes home from World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked to them about, the greatest generation or the silent generation, whichever name you like. These are the people that built the suburbs. They came home and they built the latter half of the 20th century. What doesn't get talked about probably enough is the amount of alcoholism these people brought with them.
Oh yeah.
The amount of trauma they came home with and introduced into their families, along with the aforementioned alcoholism. If I hear one more story about how, someone whose parent is in their 70s or 80s right now was a drinker, I mean, my God, if I had a nickel, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I would be in the Maldives. I can't. I'm not one of these people. I'm not one of these like moral absolutists where because of this we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. These people, did an incredible thing and came home and continued to do incredible things. But some of them were drunks, and some of them were domestic abusers. And I think there's room in the conversation to hear both stories. And so when I looked at that scene, bringing it back to the movie, I was reminded of that. Like, so many kids grew up with really shitty fathers. And contrary to popular opinion and research shows, being a shitty father can really, really screw up your life.
I will say that I will say that both of my bio granddads did fight in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were in the Pacific Theater. Both of them had drinking problems. And both of them died fairly young. I lost like before I was born. I know for a fact that my mom's dad, he died at 50 in 1970. And even though he was, in her opinion, an amazing father, everybody loved him. He was an alcoholic who came home with PTSD, or at the time, I believe it was called combat
shell shock. That was the common parlance.
Yeah, it was shell
Yeah.
combat fatigue in World War II. It was operational exhaustion in Korea. and then it was post-traumatic stress disorder in Vietnam, and then get shortened. But according to her, like, he had PTSD. There were times when he would when just out of nowhere he would just cry his eyes out, and my mom didn't understand why. And she'd go, "What's wrong, Daddy?" And he would just pick her up and go, "It's just bad dreams, baby. It's just bad dreams."
Right.
And at the time, of course, there were, I mean, I'm not saying that the VA is perfect. I'm not saying that their mental health options are the best out there. I mean, talk to any combat veteran. They'll have, opinions vary, experiences vary. But I know back in the day, there was nothing.
Yeah.
It was basically, well, why don't you drink about it? Like,
in many quarters, it was denied it ever happened.
Exactly. And, and I will tell you that, like, on the other side of that card, my other grandpa, my dad's dad was a piece of shit. Like, he was a drunk who would abuse his wife and children. I mean, there was a reason why my aunt got married at 16 to get out of that house. So,
also another common story I've heard, yeah.
Indeed. So, like, yeah, a shitty father can definitely mess people up.
Yeah.
And you see it, pretty much crystallized in like a little 2-minute scene between little Frank and his dad.
Yep. Him throwing the veal. And it's so funny because I'm gonna toss it over to Sean after I say this, but I should have become a judge. It was like I'm a good psychologist, but I might have been a better judge because I have such a strong sense of fairness, so I can see both sides. You're this kid, you're an innocent kid who doesn't understand what his father's going through or why his father's going through it, but he knows he's a child and he knows he wants to train and that he's been a good boy and Santa should bring him. Once his father walks in the door and he was like trained now, and he's utterly betrayed, and and you can see the heartbreak and the cynicism fill the void. Now let's look at the father's point of view. And the father is, whatever he's going through, came home with his package of veal. This is not cheap meat, people.
No.
Veal is expensive.
Uh-huh.
Back then, veal was very expensive. You were a rich family if you had some. So he walks in with the king's gold, is what he did, and he tosses it to the kids. This ungrateful shit, this bastard. He throws it at his feet. He's like, look what Daddy did. Daddy did that. He provided. And the kid's like, but I want to train.
The veal, though, like if somebody dropped 5 pounds of veal at my feet on Christmas, I would be ecstatic. But I'm also an adult who loves to cook.
I was gonna say, at 40,
yeah.
At 5, no.
Like, what's a 4-year-old gonna do with?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the father, giving the father the benefit of the doubt, he legitimately thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever else informed it, and because somebody could be argued, like, come on, like, what adult gives a child meat? I don't know. One that thinks meat's really important. This family needs food.
Right, but I mean, didn't you notice, like, his wife just gave up? She goes, "I'm going up."
Yeah,
because
that was a broken family. Sean, what did you think of the movie Scrooged?
High protein, the gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
That's what she said.
Oh.
In the thick of everything that we've been talking about, Colin Comer was not an alcoholic. Colin Comer was the hyper-conservative, kind of conflicted middle child of a World War II vet.
I was gonna say he's a boomer, isn't he?
Yeah, who was absolutely haunted by what he experienced over in Europe and was, as I would find out later, an abusive alcoholic. So lots of angles from which I could think about this. But the main one is that remembering what I do of the time when this movie came out. the entertainment status quo and the societal status quo was very much anyone who brought this stuff up and tried to make a case that this was a serious issue. Everything we've just been talking about, all the trauma and everything, if you brought that up, the status quo was to shout them down, mock them, make them a joke, but they are inferior, unworthy, what the fuck ever have you. And it's interesting to juxtapose that now at a time when, like I said before, we're seeing the two younger generations right now compared to ours, who are really trying their damnedest and making headway with my generation's help to to really normalize these things as being things, as being things that there is no shame in the fact that, yes, these interactions left scars and they never fully healed, and neither did the bruises, the broken bones, the memories, and it shaped to this day what we all expect from relationships, strangers, family, friends, lovers, what have you. It's all shaped by the data we've gathered from every single interaction we've had. It's all a data point.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to interject here just for a second. But like, you see Frank, in spite of the, like how he grew up, he was still, I mean, at least in his early 20s, he was still optimistic and loving and kind.
Yeah.
And you see the interactions that he has with.
God, I want to give Sean his chance. I want you to finish, but we need to spend some time on that scene where their relationship blows up and he's in the mascot suit.
Oh, yeah. You left Claire for Scruffy the dog or whatever that.
Yeah. I want to talk about that. So keep going.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Keep going, Kat, and then back to Sean.
Okay. So yeah, like, and it was up until that scene where you see, like Frank being loving and kind and optimistic and happy. And honestly, I'm on Frank's side with this one, because you see these people all the time. Like you go out, like you go over their house every Christmas for dinner or whatever. 1 year, can we please go out with my boss and whatever his girl Friday is, just once? Please support me in my career. Yeah, I'm with Frank on this one.
I'm gonna come back to that. I have a lot to say about that scene. Go ahead, Sean.
But I mean, and that's one thing that's kind of a nice change here, is from what I do remember of A Christmas Carol, I don't remember as much of it coming back to Ebenezer Scrooge as compared to Francis Cross, having been shaped quite so much by the familial trauma as just being someone whose priorities absolutely fell out and he lost his way.
He got lost.
Yeah, exactly. This one kind of paints Francis, horrible douche nozzle though he is, as being, at least, I object to your actions, but on a certain level, I at least know how you got here, and it's not entirely you just being a bad person. You just had the worst frame of reference you could have possibly had for pretty much everything from the word go. But that being said, what I kind of liked about it most is and after this, I'll throw it over to Mark, is the fact that, grab your drinks if you got them, because it kind of passes as a wrestling reference. For the face or heel turn to mean anything, you've got to go far enough in the opposite direction for it to have the right impact. you can't be Bill Murray can't afford to be shades of gray here. He needs to be Peter Venkman with the volume turned up to 11 and the knob ripped off and shoved up the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's ass. He needs to be absolutely deplorable on every level. And I think it really, really sinks in the teeth on that huge, of course, we've all seen the story, seen it coming, swing at the end there.
Yeah.
So that scene, you remember I was saying that I have this really strong sense of fairness, and I have an even stronger sense of empathy. I can see both sides. Bill Murray saying to her, like, hey, there are not a lot of opportunities for me to move up here. This is one of them. I would like to move up. Moving up is good for both of us. You need to be supportive here. Maybe not saying it as eloquently as all of that, but that was what he was going for. And Karen Allen's character just being, so like, no, we have our friends are important. Moving up in your career is not important. Our friends are important. It's like, man, if you don't have a shared value system, or a sense of priorities, but again, I also do see it from her point of view of, like, I see it from her point of view. I don't need to explain it. What I really want to talk about, though, is how the movie, because it's a Ghost of Christmas Past scene, and it's a thing that's supposed to, inform you that he didn't make the right decisions going forward, and that's how he ended up in this place. As Sean said, you have to do that so that in the end, when he's punished for all of his sins, it's powerful. If you don't understand, if the stuff along the way is so light and dumb that then killing him in the casket and burning him is really overkill. So I get all of that. But it was funny. The movie wants you to think that decision is a really bad one, except that I don't agree with the movie, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't think what he did there rose to the level of, like, when, just to give you an example, when Scrooge McDuck, and it's a silly one, but gosh, nothing breaks your heart like watching a sad Daisy Duck. When Daisy goes to Scrooge, it was like, hey, like, I bought this cottage for us to move into. This is our wedding. This is for us to be married and live in. And and I know I've been late on a few payments, but don't you love me? And Scrooge is like, yeah, I'm foreclosing. Get out.
Well,
He fucking just crumbles. Like, later on, when they're kicking him into a lonely grave, you get it. Like, all right, I understand. Him pleading with Karen, like, for the love of God, I don't get a lot of I started out as the mail boy. This is a chance for me to hobnob with an executive and move up. Why don't you get that?
Probably the newspaper. No, like,
God, I've kind of been him in that moment where it's like, why don't you see the sense of urgency here?
Right, but yeah, like, I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this. Like, I've always sided with Frank on this because it just makes more physical sense. But and who knows if this was the only, like, the only inch that he asked her to give, if that makes sense. But then again, like these are characters in a movie, like, they're not real people. But I feel like in this instance, go to dinner with his boss and, whomever he chose to be on his arm for the night. Because he's a scuzzy guy. I mean, you two meet him, like, before this as a corpse, or would he be a ghoul?
Maybe. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about. So you raised it, and it reminded me. Oh yeah, that to me is a little incongruent with the rest of the movie. The other scene that I kind of read. Not enough that I'm going to be super critical of the movie. It's just one of those where like it's a bit of a leap, folks. It's funny. I was talking about this with Wicked, and I said, Wicked's doing a solo. Everything has to line up perfectly, or the next movie doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Rogue One has to end with, then how it ends. It has to end with the fucking Death Star plans going aboard the Carillion cruiser.
Those people weren't gonna make it.
Yeah. They have to come up with things in the future to convince Frank, like, your actions have consequences. Those consequences affected everyone around you. You being selfish hurt everyone you came in contact with, and that's why you're being punished. Which, including Karen Allen in that, makes sense. The way they included Karen Allen in it, like, Sean, I'll see your wrestling reference and raise you a very general one. You know how, like, someone turns heel and you don't know why it came out of fucking nowhere? Then they tell you what the explanation is, and you're just like, why? Like, it made no sense. Okay, the best one I can think of, Rikishi. Rikishi running Stone Cold.
Oh, God.
I did it for the
God.
Where you're like, no one buys this. Like, it was such a dumb heel turn. His motivations made no sense. The heel turn itself made no sense. That's kind of how I feel about Karen Allen's heel turn in this, where it's like they have a fight this whole time. Up to this point in her life, for years on end, she has been giving of herself and helping people. And they have this whole thing where it's like, just give me a minute to deal with this light bulb, and I will come to lunch with you. And he's just like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I have no patience for this sort of thing. And he storms off. And that's enough to shake her resolve. That was enough to make her go, you know what? Fuck the poor. And then when you see her in the future, she's like, suddenly she's a fucking, she's an southern, what do you call it?
Carrington.
Yeah, I was like, when the fuck how did you get all this money, first of all?
Yeah.
Like, an antebellum fucking rich woman all of a sudden. Like, why?
The big ass hat. Oh.
I was like, all that was missing was her in the rocking chair going, it's good to have land. Like, what are we doing here?
We were just in Manhattan. When did we arrive in Tennessee?
Right. I was like, why do you want a plantation in Alabama?
Anywhere. But, like,
I don't think that was a microdose.
Yeah, but it's like all that really taught, is at least some people, all I gotta do is be a massive selfish cunt, and then I get like a Joan Collins power.
I mean, like, there's an argument to be made that that's somewhat true, but not as quickly as they do it in this movie. It's not that far in the future.
No, it's not. But
so somewhere a young Jeff Bezos is just going, hang on, slow down. That last part. Give me that last part again.
All right. Fuck it. Do nothing for nobody. Keep it all for yourself. Got it. I have this idea for an online bookstore.
Oh, God. Man, if that's his origin story, if that's his heel turn, I'm going to flip the table. But
anyway, that's my point about that scene. That's what I'm trying to say. What happened to break Karen Allen isn't nearly enough to show to what they showed in the future. That's my only thing.
Nope. I mean, although I have used this quote recently, scrape them off, Claire. You're going to say, if anybody, save yourself. Like, I have used this quote recently.
If anything was a 1980s professional wrestling heel line, it is that.
Yeah. It's giving, it's giving this champagne is burnt. See me in a Dynasty reference again. But, like, yeah, there must have been a series of, I guess, fortunate events,
Was she given stock advice from Forrest Gump and she invested in Apple?
God, who knows? It's like, maybe she already came from money and no, I'm not, I'm not volunteering all my time and energy to this.
We're making a big deal. It's like one of these things where anyone watching this or that movie is like, what are they making a big deal about? But I actually think you raised a really good point there, Kat. If you're going to do this thing where she's rich in the end, maybe a conversation about, yeah, I never really had to work because I come from money, but I decided that being a good person is what I want to be when I grow up. So because I don't have to work, I spend all of my time volunteering. Great. We understand why you're like where you are at the end.
Right. I think the lesson the movie is trying to teach, or at least what they're trying to come across, is yeah, she's rich, but she's bitchy and unhappy. Because her lip quivers.
Yeah.
A tear comes out of that eye. She's wearing
not entirely comfortable with where she is in life, despite the fact that she made a grown woman decision to do that.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, she's sad and mean. Next. I mean, she's definitely better off than poor Grace and Calvin. Oh.
Yeah, well, yes. All right. I think we've talked this enough. Sean, is there anything else about Scrooged? Any of the craft elements that you want to speak on, or are you good?
My God, it is worth it just to watch Carol Kane adorably whoop Bill Murray's monkey ass up, down, and sideways. I could watch that on a loop for the rest of my life and probably never stop laughing.
I wanted to be her for Halloween so bad.
Oh, you would have been amazing, Carol.
I know. You know what? I could still do it. I could totally still do it. In fact, it would make more sense now than at 6. So yeah,
I could see you having some fun with her character from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Don't wear yellow. There's a gang called the Banana Boys. Yeah, no. I love Carol Kane. I love her in everything. This is my favorite Carol Kane. She's so funny. She's so cute. And she's so ruthless.
Oh yeah. It's good stuff. There is one other thing I wanted to bring up now that you mention it. Bill Murray's turn at the end.
Yeah.
Goes a little long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's a speech that needed to be cut down by about 3 to 5 minutes.
We didn't need him singing we didn't need him singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart. It could have stopped with him kissing the Rockette, Claire kissing him, and then Calvin tugging on his sleeve to say, God bless us everyone. Also, another part that Niagara Falls, Frankie Angel.
Yeah, we get it. His whole thing at the end is to turn off the television and spend time with your family is the message of this movie. Great. I love that. You needed 2 minutes for it. Not the Gettysburg Address he does at the end. Jesus Christ. All right, well, now that I've started this podcast with a Lincoln reference, I will now end it with a Lincoln reference. That is our review of Scrooged. Merry Christmas, everybody. But the Christmas movies and their reviews continue. We will be doing Merry Xmas, Oh What Fun, and the Jingle Bell Heist this Sunday. It'll be myself and Jesse, continuing our tradition of reviewing at least 3 new streaming Christmas movies every year. Last year was quite a treasure trove of Christmas movies. There was The Merry Gentleman. Have you heard of The Merry Gentleman, Kat?
No.
Picture it.
No.
It's like a Hallmark. It's like a Hallmark. Take 3. Sorry. It's like a Hallmark Christmas movie that someone decided, I like Hallmark Christmas movies, but what if we made it kind of Cinemaxy?
Ew.
You can't do that. All right. We're going to just point at it being Cinemaxy from about 100 yards. Picture it, Sicily, 1937.
Christmas themed lingerie squicks me out.
A professional dancer loses her gig on Broadway, goes home to sulk about it. Her parents own a bar. The bar is not doing well. They haven't got the money for the mortgage on the farm. And so she was like, but this bar is everything to me, even though I've been away for all these years. I don't want you to lose your bar. The parents are like, we really don't care. We'll go to
It's her
Cancun.
fallback.
Fine.
That's why.
Yeah, she's like, no, I will not let you lose this bar. This bar is our family. So she's like, I'm going to save it. Well, how are you going to do that? Hear me out. We have hunky men in this small town. What if I got him to dance with no shirt on? And everyone
Well,
says,
family
"Whore."
doesn't get left behind.
And she says, and everyone says, "Oh, pervert!" And she was like, "No, it'll be classy."
Honestly,
so-
that's not
Yeah.
where I thought that was going to go.
So she does an all-male review with the hunky men in town,
Hunky
and this, and because the hunky men in town attract all the horny wives of the neighborhood, this bar gets saved with the money that they earn. And there's of course a love story between her and head hunky man.
Okay, so every time you say hunky man or hunky man or whatever, I go back
Hunky
to
man,
the
hunky
board
man,
man,
hunky
not my
man.
hunky boys.
I
Hunky
watched
boys,
this with my
man,
I watched
hunky
this
boys.
with my children on Christmas Eve. I want you to know that we did an alternative. We did a commentary track for it. So anyway, so there was that. There was Hot Frosty. There was the the redhead that's in Mean Girls. She's got to deal with Netflix now.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. Whatever Christmas movie Lindsay Lohan did that year. Oh, and the Jack Black Santa movie, where he's Satan, but the kid's got. Hear me out on this one. This is the premise. So the kid, he's got a bit of the dyslexia, and all he wants for Christmas is his parents to get back together. So he writes, "Dear old Santa Claus." Here's the problem: he's got the dyslexia. He wrote to Satan. And one of Satan's
Oh no!
and so one of Satan's lesser demons intercepts this letter, and he was like, "I will impress Satan by impersonating Santa, and I will go down and raise mischief." That's the whole fucking movie.
So the roller coaster I just went on, man, like Jack Black Christmas movie. I said, God, I can't wait to not watch that. And then when you mentioned Satan,
Go on.
Morningstar, are you kidding me? Now I wait. Hold on, babe. Download the Jack Black Satanic Christmas movie.
Wonderful. Do you like the name of the movie? I can look it up really quick.
Date night is saved.
Because I think it's on a streaming service.
Paramount Plus.
If we're not watching it, it's on purpose. No, now I kind of want to see Satan save Christmas for this little boy.
Which one was it? Dear Santa. That's the name
Oh,
of the movie.
okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, last year's Christmas triple feature was Hot Frosty. Hot Frosty. Our Little Secret and Dear Satan. Dear Santa. This year it's the Jingle Bell Heist. Oh, what fun! And I Marry a Little Xmas, as in like my ex-girlfriend or boyfriend.
Oh, I thought that was the Christmas porno thing or the Christmas cinema.
No, that's the Merry Gentleman.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So here's what we did this past week. Speaking of Christmas, on the Metal Hammer of Doom, we talked to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Ghost of Christmas Eve, and that is where Mick tricked me into doing a kink show because she told the story where she had a hot date at a dungeon, and she did.
That you texted me at like 7:30 in the morning. Happy birthday! How would you like to do the podcast on?
I get up early in the morning, and then on Damn You Hollywood, we reviewed the new Frankenstein. Go watch it; it's on Netflix. It's the best movie of the year. Yeah, high praise from
good things about it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's put it this way: when Robert and I both like something, go watch it. It's the best thing you're ever going to see. Monday is Avatar 3: Fire and Ash. Hopefully, after this, they stop making these. And then that's really it for the week because it's Christmas Eve. So that's what we got going on here. The next time all of us will be together, theoretically, well, the next triple feature, I should say, it will be in January 8th, and that'll be myself and Sean and probably Kat, the way things are going.
What is it?
We'll be doing a John Hughes focus. John Hughes, motherfucker.
Oh. Okay.
We'll be doing Weird Science, another movie that's been on my wish list
Look,
for a while.
I am committed to this polycule.
Dude. Okay, I'm in. All you had to say was Weird Science because I'm an Oingo Boingo fan. But
Wonderful.
yeah, go. I'm sorry. Go off, Diva.
Weird Science, 16 Candles, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay. So so Weird Science, the somewhat making light of sexual assault, and Ferris Bueller. Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Wonderful. I was adding you as you were talking.
Wait.
So that'll be the next triple feature with the three of us. Sean, why don't you go ahead and do your plugs?
All right. Normally, I would be on twitch.tv/Comer Codex, but that is more than likely going to be on a short hiatus until after New Year's. I've got some things in motion that I'm trying to get in order, and I'll admit I just don't have the time for the next about week or two to really get back to it, but I'll have some things going under the hood, hopefully. Specifically, one of the things I'm going to be dedicating a little more time to is a project for the Rodelichen Broadcasting Network that I don't really want to unveil quite yet. It doesn't have a date, but it will be happening sometime in late January, early February. And I have to not only rewatch a series on Disney Plus, but for probably the first time in all the time I've been doing podcasts, I have actually got a couple of books that I am reading for a review. So this will be fun. I did not have this on my bingo card for the end of the year, but the more I think about it and everything surrounding it, the more optimistic I feel lately. So,
all right, Kat, take me home, baby doll.
Aw. So, I'm really bad at social media. However, I do have a movie on Drama Now called Christmas Chaos.
Oh yeah, real quick. What did your husband, your
Very
partner, what did your partner and your friend after the show?
Yeah.
What did they think of the interview?
Oh, they thought it was great. I thought it was great. I mean, we all had a lot of fun. They really liked you guys. They said you were really nice.
aww.
Yeah. I will say that I got a call from Dorian Price, like an hour or so after the fact, and he goes, "Okay, two things." And I love him to death. Shout out to Dorian, but it always takes him like 30 years to get to a point. So, and he will be the first person to admit this. So, first of all, he said that you messaged him like with a glowing review of me. She's such an asset. She's great, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, a tear. Like, I actually teared up. And then he proceeded to tell me, like, something that, like, he preemptively apologized for something that no one even knew about.
That's very Dorian.
Yeah. He apparently messaged you, or you apparently messaged him about reviewing Christmas Chaos, and he said, "Oh my God, she made you watch Christmas Chaos," and like I didn't even really know about it. So it's like, why are you apologizing for something that nobody in the room needed to know? This could have been a text, this could have been an email, or it could have been nothing. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I made an inoffensive joke. Okay, but so yeah.
Anywho,
okay, I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent again.
Right.
So, like I said, I have a Christmas movie on Terminal called Christmas Chaos, written and directed by my wonderful partner, Nicholas Howard. And edited, scored, and God knows what else he did on this, Michael Tribbiano. It's on Trauma Now, which is $4.99 per month, but the first month's free, guys.
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Trial. Court is now in recess. For Sean, for Kat, I need the Seahawks to throw 2 touchdowns. For God's sake, stop falling apart. I said the quiet part out loud. Be well, be safe, and behave.